Welcome to another section of our HPP Innovation Week. First, let's present our department. In Spain, we are 5 members. The first one is Rui Queiroz, who is totally in Portugal. Later, we have Mario González. And we are Iris Valla and Berta Polanco. Here in Burgos is also settled Carol Tonero, our application director. And on the other side of the world, we have our colleague Vinicio Sevedo. In this video, we are going to explain how to validate an HPP product in our HPP incubator.
So let's take a look at how the whole process works. Let's say you have an idea. The first step would be to come into contact with our department and see what we can help in terms of scientific know-how as well as just general market experience in order to best guide you through product formulation, packaging, and making sure that your ideas become marketable. Once we've talked and have generated the ideas, the next step would then be the trials, where for your unique product, we will set up the right parameters in order to have the optimal production for you.
And as I've already explained, here in our HPP incubator, you have 2 options. The client can come here and do the test in Burgos or in Miami. And the other option is to bring us the product and we take care of them, and later we can pack and return you back to your house. We are lucky to have 2 HPP incubators. One is here, settled in Burgos, and the other one is in Miami. The customer has 2 options. The first one is to come here and to validate the process with us, and the other is to send us the product and we will take care of them and return back to their house. So let's see which type of products we can validate here.
So as you can see in front of us, we've set up a lot of different types of products, ranging from more meat-based products for human and animal consumption. We have seafood products as well. In the plant-based sector, we have dips, salsas, and purees. Ready-to-eat meals as well exist in a wide variety with seafood-based or more meat-based plates as well. And of course, a very large range of fruit juices and cold-pressed juices of this type. And while this range appears very wide, in reality, when we're testing the products, there are 2 main parameters that will affect how well the process works. And these are the pH and water activity. And so to test these products and make sure that these parameters are maintained during the HPP processing, we have here in the HPP incubator a wide range of tools to make sure that your product finishes in the most optimal way.
Here we have some of the devices that we use to measure the products. The first one is a refractometer to measure the Brix degree of some juices and beverages. Later we have a pH meter for some liquids and solid products. And the last one is a water activity analyzer.
For other studies of the properties of your products, we have more rheological equipment as well to make a consistometer, for example, or just a regular viscosimeter.
Another issue to validate is the packaging format. Here we have some examples. The first one are the trays that has to be in a skin packaging. Also, we have another options such as vacuum bags. And the last ones are bottles for juices and beverages of different shapes.
Behind the scenes, there's also a lot of research that goes on. For example, for the development of the bulk machine, which now allows us to have different types of bottling equipment and systems, the applications department was very involved. More recently, work with the Australian research team, CSIRO, for example, has led to the development of isolated canisters, which now are helping with the development of pressure-assisted heat treatments as well. And so future collaborators with Hyperbaric can help test different products and different innovations here in the incubator.
Now let's see an example of a real product. In this case, it's a juice product. We can keep one as a control and the other will be processed in the machine. Juices are a good example because they have a low pH and a high water activity.
Processing these is very easy. We put them into the machine and simply press as here. The loading then takes place. Once the product has been processed, it can be easily unloaded and compared with the original product. As such, for rheological analysis and things like that, we can help you right here in the incubator. And for microbiological analysis, we have contacts to help you make the best of the trials that we've done together.
And now let's go with our colleague Mario, who is going to explain the more technical issues.
Thank you, Berta and Iris, for the nice introduction to our HPP incubator. So now I would like to introduce to you the other things that we offer to our customers or any HPP user. As I said, we are a team of food experts with a big experience on process validation, packaging, and product development. My colleagues already mentioned, but we are a team all around the world. Here in Spain, we are based Berta, Iris, myself, and my colleague Rui. Overseas, we have my colleague Vinicius Herment and our director, who is Carol Tonello. As I said, we can offer guidance to any HPP user or customer. We also offer this nice HPP incubator to develop any recipe. We can also assess our customers in product validation, not only for placing a product in the market, but also to validate the shelf life of a product, as I will explain a bit later. We can test packaging solutions, and we offer other services. We interact with food safety authorities, or we are very active in congresses and other conferences for scientific knowledge transmission. For product development, we have to take into account the characteristics of the food. We have explained here how we can measure the different parameters of the food just to find the best parameters to process a food, or to know how to adapt a formula for the process to be successful. pH and water activity are key parameters. There are some products that need to add additional controls, especially if pH is low. So we have to reformulate or place other controls just to prevent spores from growing, for instance. Some other products, for instance, fresh meat or fresh fish, the color may change if we apply HPP. So we can also work on different solutions to hinder this color change. When it comes to the process, it is very simple. We only have pressure and holding time. So we have to define those parameters depending on the characteristics of the food, such as pH, water activity, the ingredients, or if we have some other additives to control microorganisms. So in summary, yeah, we can offer you nice tasting sessions here in our HPP incubators. As you can see, we have nice facilities, not only here in Burgos, but also in Miami, in the United States of America. So together as the Department of Food Applications with our HPP incubator and also our HPP Academia network, we can all work together in a recipe just to make a successful formula for HPP. When it comes to process validation, we are also very active, giving advice to our customers. And this is the step that we have between product development and commercialization. So in between, there is this whole validation that needs to be done. And we can divide this process in 3 different stages. For instance, sensory validation for shelf life. It's very important to understand the color stability, texture changes, and aroma, flavor, and so on. After that, we can go for the microbial shelf life validation, just to understand the populations that characterize a food after HPP. And finally, maybe the most important one, the food safety validation, just to understand how HPP can control pathogens in our product. When it comes to sensory shelf life validation, we have to pay attention to these parameters, oxidation, enzymatic activity, and also storage conditions, because all of these play a key role in the development of a product. So there is no point in developing a product with a long shelf life if the sensory attributes are not okay for us. So it's very important to create a product that is attractive and that will succeed in the market. And we recommend, of course, to follow a worst case scenario. Just try to follow the worst conditions we can find in the supermarket, for instance, just to have a formula that is robust and will work. When it comes to microbial shelf life, it is very important to understand the microbial species that we have in a product, not only before HPP, but also after HPP. This will help us to define the best conditions, and Hyperbaric, of course, can offer you this advice to understand how to conduct shelf life studies. Our HPP Academia network also offers this service, so you can contact any of our associates just to perform these studies. And here you can see an example of a shelf life study that this is standard one that you can follow, and we can help you defining the criteria. And maybe the most important one, as I said, food safety validation studies. Some regulatory authorities, such as FDA in the United States, still require process validation for HPP. So our HPP Academia network is able to do these studies, but at Hyperbaric we are process authority, so we can advise you on the best parameters and conditions to validate a product. We are also very active checking scientific literature, so feel free to ask us for any advice, and we will give you the most updated references in the scientific literature. Now I will briefly summarize how to conduct a validation study. First of all, you have to select 5 strains of pathogenic species and grow them overnight. Once you have them grown, you can create a cocktail mixing these strains, and then you proceed with inoculation of a product. Here, this is an example for juice. Then you have to process this product with a very well-defined pressure and holding time conditions. And after that, we have the treated product. Now we can compare the microbial counts in a sample that is not treated, that we can control, and we compare it with the counts of a sample that is treated. So if we calculate these differences in microbial counts, we have the log reduction. For juice, for instance, in the US, it is required to validate a 5 log reduction. And HPP, of course, can achieve that. So in summary, the food department applications at Hyperbaric will understand the characteristics of the food. With this, we can define the right processing conditions. Our HPP Academia network will do the validation study for you. And checking just the lab results, we can write this process authority letter that will give you permission to place a product in the market. So in summary, the HPP Food Applications Department at Hyperbaric can help customers developing products. We offer free testing in our HPP incubators. We also support in the design and interpretation of shelf life studies. And we are process authority, so we can, of course, design validation studies for product commercialization. This was all from my side. I hope you enjoyed this session. And yeah, we are at your disposal for anything you need. Thank you.